My purpose in these homilies and this Advent, as I mentioned last week, is to set out and provide for you certain dangers that I think face us as we try to prepare ourselves for the coming of Jesus Christ. You know, when we think about Advent, Advent means coming. To get ready for the coming of Jesus, we must prepare. And that's why I mentioned to you these dangers. Last week, just as a very quick review, we talked about the danger of hedonism. Hedonism is this: if it feels good, I simply go out and do it. Pleasure is the ultimate goal of life for hedonism. But we kind of tried to shoot that down by taking as an example a piece of pizza. You know, the advertising industry has really taken this whole idea of hedonism and tried to make us buy into it. But if you take a piece of pizza, you know, and the commercial says, this will really bring you happiness, and you go out and buy it and you eat it and you realize it is good, yes, for a while you are pretty content. You're pretty happy. But what happens with time is that feeling disappears. And happiness, everyone, is the idea of, it's an inner disposition in which something is sustained. So really we have to ask ourselves, can a piece of pizza really bring us happiness? Well, what did we just say? Happiness is a disposition inside of us that lasts. So we have to say, no. For a period of time, yes, but over a long period, no. And so pizza can't bring you happiness. It can only bring you pleasure. And with any pleasure, it only lasts for a temporary period of time. So hedonism now, we've shot down. Okay? It is not the ultimate goal of life. Now we have to move to the second danger. And the second danger comes to us from John the Baptist. I'm not going to talk to you this week about what John the Baptist wore, what he ate, about why we call him the Baptist. Instead, I'm intrigued by this: where we would go and find John the Baptist. Okay? If we want to know how to find John the Baptist, where do we have to go? We got to go to the desert. Okay? The desert is a place of extreme, intense loneliness, emptiness. You really want to know who you are, you go to the desert. Okay? Nobody bothers you there. But with John the Baptist, we get this picture of this people from the major population centers moving out to find him. You know, it wasn't very long ago that I was with a class and I just threw out a name, and the name I threw out was Justin Bieber. And some of them go, oh! You know, it was almost like Elvis Presley came back from the dead. You could see in their eyes there were just hearts all over. But others said, yuck. Yuck. Ick. Fascinating. The gospel of today says this: Jerusalem, all Judea, and the whole countryside went out to see John the Baptist. Now, is it really everybody? Probably not. But a lot of people would have said, we have to go see this man. And what does he tell them when they come? He says, repent. Change your heart. Change your life. And if last week the call of John the Baptist would have been to repent from hedonism, driven largely by society, this week we have to look at one that drives us, not just from society, because it does, but drives us interiorly. This one really comes to us from ourselves, and it's been there from the beginning of time, and the word this week is individualism. Individualism. Okay, let me give you an example of individualism, because this is a way in which we do not define it correctly. Here we go. You're at a stoplight. There's somebody in front of you. And the light turns green, and before you even give them a chance to put their foot on the accelerator, you're on your horn. And you're saying every F word, S word that you can possibly think of inside your vehicle. Now, when you go back to driver's training, you know what the purpose of using the horn was for? To issue a warning. That's it. Okay? And it works. Somebody honks their horn, what does everybody do? They look. Now, the above example that I just gave you, is that really issuing a warning? No. No. As a matter of fact, you're lucky the person in front of you doesn't get out of their vehicle and come back and ask you what's wrong with you. But you know something? We're too scared to even do that today because of what people might do to us. Okay? Some people will call that impatience. That's not impatience. It's individualism. Okay? Individualism is this. Me, me, me. It takes the greatest commandment, and this is the way the greatest commandment sounds with individualism. Serve me with all your mind, heart, soul, and strength, God and neighbor, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's all about me. You know, I feel, for these families who have young children, sometimes I really do feel for you at Christmas time. You try to buy the right number of presents. You try to make it equal. You try to, spend about the same amount on each child the best that you can. And yeah, it's inevitable every Christmas you're going to hear this. I didn't get that. I wanted that. I wanted what they got. That, everyone, is individual. Kid may not realize it, but it's all about me. So everyone, if pleasure hasn't brought us happiness, then I know this for a fact. Getting everything that we want hasn't brought us a lot of happiness either. Okay? So how do you combat individualism? You have to do this. You have to move beyond yourself. You have to put other people first. You have to serve. You have to make the greatest commandment the greatest commandment. Love God with all your mind, heart, soul, and strength. God first. And then your neighbor as yourself. In other words, Jesus put the neighbor before you or me. Interesting. God first, but neighbor before me. Here's an example. When I was in confirmation, we were asked to do a confirmation project. I decided to help my Aunt Josie. I tell you, everyone, it was the first time I ever entered a house and I experienced poverty. Poor. Poverty. And yet, she always had a smile on her face. Amazing. How somebody so poor could really be happy. And so because of that, I never mind going to Aunt Josie's because I always knew she'd be happy. And so when it came to confirmation, I thought, well, Aunt Josie, and at this time of life, she was old enough where she couldn't wash the walls and ceilings, and so that's what I did. Okay, at the end of it being a service project, I never got paid, and yet I'll tell you this, I left feeling happy. Happy. I had done something for another person, and they could appreciate it. Now, we may not always hear the appreciation, but I did it. And you know something? If I had gotten something for it, it would have taken a little bit of the happiness, the edge of it, off. It taught me a life lesson early. Okay? To really be free, we have to move beyond ourselves if we're going to be happy. Okay? So that was my challenge for you last week with hedonism, is to give up a temporary pleasure or pleasures during Advent and hopefully beyond. Here it is this week. In this Advent time, serve another without cost, without expecting somebody in return. You see it on the internet. We see it on TV. We hear about it. People praying for groceries anonymously. Why do they do it? They want to be happy. We can do that. But we got to move beyond. Okay? So serve another without cost. Danger number 3? Well, we wait with that till next week.